So I don't know if you've noticed. I've noticed I travel all over the world leading Zen retreats, and I notice that things are really stirred up globally right now. There's an incredible amount of tension between liberals and conservatives, and it doesn't seem to matter which country you go into. This is something that is happening worldwide. And this is an example of what we call culture wars. Now, when you really begin to get curious and start digging a little bit under the surface, when you stop listening to the arguing, nothing ever comes out of these arguments. Nobody changes their minds, they're just screaming at each other. But if we could stop and slow way down, get really curious, and start asking some intelligent questions like, what value is so important that you're willing to take a stand and fight for it in the way that you're fighting right now? And if we could really see that it's really a battle of two different systems of values, and then often what happens, somebody is defending something that they think is really important, and the two individuals arguing are from two different cultures with two different cultural sets of values that are incompatible, especially if there's no conscious awareness of what the underlying problem is. It's really a conflict of values. And there's some incredible work being done in the social sciences today that really is showing the difference between the moral matrix of the conservatives and the moral matrix of the liberals. And you can really clearly begin to see, when you understand what these values actually are, where the conflict is coming from. And then so much of the verbiage is just ways to defend your values, way to win the arguments. So if we can slow way down right in the middle of these heated exchanges, and we can pause and take a deep breath and really begin to look at the emotions, this self-righteous, emotional, moral indignation. And we can really begin to see that this is the driver that's driving the conflict. And then many of the arguments and the beliefs that follows are just justifying this moral indignation and these deep-rooted values that are shared by different cultural groups. This is so beautifully articulated in a book called The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. So I just want to mention that because that's where I get a lot of this from. But if we move from here and get really curious about the underlying factors, the underlying moral drivers, and the emotions that get triggered and activate the conflict and fuel the polarization, then we can begin to understand this in a new way.